What if Silksong wasn't about Hornet? In this video, I'll show you my reimagined version of Silksong, where Sherma takes Hornet's place as the hero of Farlow. If you don't know who I am, my name is Cartoon Coffee, and I have over 10 years of experience making 2D hand-drawn game art.
And I'm Java, an artificial intelligence training to become a professional game artist.
When Blackburn Prod asked me to join their Silksong challenge, I thought, awesome. And when they said, you only have 7 days, that was less awesome. But this sounds like a fun challenge, so let's do it.
It's basically a game dev relay race. Each dev adds their own contribution under a tight deadline, then pass it to the next dev, all without any communication.
And I'm kicking it off by creating the art and animations. So the first thing we need is to create the character. The main character in Silksong is Hornet, but I don't think I can improve on Team Cherry's work, especially in 7 days.
So what if Silksong wasn't about Hornet?
Java, it has to be about Hornet. There's no other character it could possibly be. Oh, okay. You know what? It's time for Sherma to become the hero of Farlow. There's actually quite a lot of animations I need to make for Sherma to be as dynamic as Hornet, but I definitely won't have time to make them all. So I'm gonna have to use my tried and true game jam method.
And what's that?
Making a list of need-to-haves and nice-to-haves. This might sound incredibly simple, but this has saved me more times than I can count. When working under time pressure, it's easy for me to lose sight of what's important. In the end, I made a list of 29 animations to get done, and I managed to finish 23. Here are some of them now. I wanted Sherma to be surprisingly nimble and capable with Hornet's needle.
Another thing we wanted to make sure of is that this version of Sherma wasn't too serious.
So I made sure to sprinkle in some silly animations like a spin for the sprint jump and his song animation. Some of the animations I wish I was able to get done but didn't was the transition animations. Hornet has a ton of transition animations that make the character look buttery smooth, like the transition from idle to walk to idle to turn around, walk to turn around, sprint to turn around, attack to idle, and so much more. It's really impressive how much care Team Cherry put into Hornet to make sure her controls not only felt responsive, but they looked good at every step.
We also would have liked to get the float in.
But honestly, I just didn't have a good enough idea for it. With more time, I might have thought of something fun, but if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Something else that would have been cool is to have some kind of tool for Sherma to use. Like maybe he could throw some bells or something. In its place, I did manage to give Sherma a spell. I thought it would be fun to give him the Vengeful Spirit attack, since it's present in both games. I figured this casting animation could work for both his spell and his heal. For his heal, he could sing for a bit to recover HP. It also would have been nice to get a bench animation and a few others done.
Okay, enough about Sherma. Who's he fighting?
Well, in Silksong, Hornet gets captured a lot. Which led me to keep thinking about cages. What if she got captured once again, but this time she couldn't escape? Which is why Sherma is wielding Hornet's needle. She dropped it in her capture, and Sherma is now tracking her down.
I thought I said enough about Sherma.
Okay, fine. The point is, I made the boss centered around cages. And to work in some of that Silksong lore, I thought it would be fun to fill the cages with lost fleas. Out of 13 planned animations, I got 11 done. I didn't have time to give him too many attacks, but hopefully there's enough here for the other devs to work with. Something that I wish I had time for but didn't was making an animation that showed off the runes on the cage. Here's what that could have looked like. I'm not entirely sure how it would have been used in the fight, but I think it would have been a fun detail to include.
So that's it for the boss?
Well, yes and no. I thought it would be worthwhile to create a simple fleet enemy for the boss to spawn. I figured this could make the fight a little more interesting, and this is what it looks like. There were 6 planned animations for this guy, and I actually managed to get it all done. Okay, now I'm done with the boss. But I'm still not done with the challenge. This adventure still needs a location to take place in. But there's no way I have time to make something completely original from scratch that would be comparable to Silksong with only 2 days left, unless I did something similar to the Bell Beast Arena. All I would need to do is paint a ton of Bell assets, which is a lot more manageable than most of the other locations in Barloom. The painting technique I use is the exact same one I talked about in my previous video, how to paint backgrounds like Hollow Knight Silksong. I also clumped some of these Bell assets together to create these bigger Bell pile assets. This makes it much easier to fill the scene and use an engine. On my last day, I also made some quick VFX, mostly slashes and impacts. Again, I wish I had more time for things like the iconic boss scream or healing thread animation.
But sadly, we were out of time.
Altogether, this is what 7 days of game art looks like. This challenge gave me so much more appreciation for the work Team Cherry put into Silksong, and I was already incredibly impressed.
What started as a side character turned into a full-blown hero.
Everything you just saw, the design, animation, background art, and VFX, is exactly the kind of stuff I teach inside my game art school. If you ever wanted to create hand-drawn game art for your own projects, then this is a great place to learn and improve your skills. I even have a full Hollow Knight case study available right now at school.com/gameart. And this isn't quite the end of Sherma's journey. If you'd like to see how other devs use these assets, you can check that out over on Blackthorn Prod's channel.
Thanks for watching!